advisor. I'm one of our family partnership consultants. Just to give you kind of an idea of what that means, our department works to kind of bridge that gap between services that are provided at school and then the services that kids help teach skills to kids in the home community settings. So my colleague and I, there's just two of us right now, will go into the homes and community with families and help them work on strategies to kind of carry over and support their children in those environments. And we're going to talk about the alphabet soup of autism. So there are many acronyms across the field, and we're going to talk about them.
I like the soup.
Thank you. Yes, this is a good picture, isn't it?
And it's so accurate because that's what there's so
Our brand manager over here is giving me a lot of positive reinforcement.
I love that kind of stuff. Makes a big difference.
Okay. So our goals today are that you guys will be introduced to service delivery options within the field of autism education and autism advocacy. That you'll be provided with a general overview of Applied Behaviour Analysis, or ABA, and that you'll be introduced to the roles of professionals who work to support the autistic population. So what services are available to the autistic population? Autism services are provided through a number of local, state, and federal programs. Services are also available via private professionals across medical, educational, and therapeutic fields. Obviously at Bridgeway, our service is educational. Yes, educational as a whole. And then availability of services varies depending on a person's location, age, and individually assessed level of need. So we'll break some of that down to start out. So what services are available specifically in Ohio? Evaluative, early intervention, educational, therapeutic, behavioral intervention, there's respite, medical and nutritional, which we won't talk about today, but those are available, and then there is funding services. Kind of a review of our evaluative services with a disclaimer that if you do have further questions regarding evaluative services, you can contact our psych department. I can answer what I can, but they'll have more information for you. So a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, or our first acronym, ASD, is determined by a comprehensive multidisciplinary evaluation by professionals experienced with ASD. This includes pediatricians, psychologists, neurologists, speech and language pathologists, or SLPs as you'll see, nurses, school education staff, family members, and service coordinators. An ASD diagnosis can only be provided by a medical doctor or a psychologist. And then the first step to obtaining special education services is by contacting a child's school district regarding evaluation. And also just a fact is, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, that's CDC, 1 in 59 children are diagnosed with ASD. So another acronym that you'll see is for early intervention, and that will be EI. So early intervention is a service for children ages birth to 3 who demonstrate a developmental delay, and it builds upon and provides supports and resources to assist parents and caregivers by enhancing children's learning and development through everyday routines. So it's comprehensive, not just educationally based. In early intervention, it's focused on their entire daily life and daily routine. Evidence suggests that EI programs are beneficial for children with autism, often improving developmental functioning and decreasing maladaptive behaviors and symptom severity.
So it could be diagnosed that early, from birth even?
Yep. So there's a developmental delay, yeah. Diagnosis is typically around 2 or 3, and that's because of kind of that social component. So once a child is found eligible for EI services, parents and a team will meet to develop a written service plan called the Individualized Family Service Plan, or IFSP. The IFSP is written with the assistance of a family's designated Service and Support Administrator, or SSA, as you'll see it referred to in literature. Also, you'll probably hear it referred to as the service coordinator, so like a county service coordinator, or sometimes a case manager. So that's just the child's point person regarding service coordination. EI services are available in every state as part of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, or IDEA, as I'll refer to it.
Yes, I thought we had a lot of acronyms.
There
Oh my God.
There are a lot.
Jeez.
So, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, mandates that the state provide all eligible children with a free and appropriate public education, or FAPE, or FAPE. That means that meets their unique individual needs. As mandated under IDEA, when a child who is eligible for special education, or SE, services turns 3, they will transition from EI to preschool special ed. To review an individualized education plan, in order to transition, again, from EI to special ed services, a child must have an IEP. This contains goals and objectives to meet their educational needs, and it must include the present level of educational performance. It'll include learning goals, and then special education and related services. School districts are mandated by law to provide a specialized education in the least restrictive environment, which is referred to as the LRE. The LRE is defined as providing the greatest possible opportunity to interact with children who do not have a disability and to participate in the general education curriculum. This is commonly referred to as mainstreaming or inclusion. LRE environments may include a general education setting with accommodations such as one-on-one aide support, so this would be within that inclusive environment. A special education program in a school with children for special needs, so an environment more like Bridgeway. And then there's also home instruction programs. And the eventual goal is that that child moves into a more inclusive and less restrictive environment. There's also an individualized service plan. So after the IFSP, when they enter into educational services, or well, past the age of 3, they'll have an ISP. So outside of the educational supports, individuals will continue to review and update their ISP. This is a written description of services, supports, and activities to be provided to a person with a disability. The SSA, or that service coordinator case manager, helps the individual and their family decide what supports to put in the ISP for the following areas. There's self-determination, so choices, opportunities, self-advocacy. There's healthcare and daily living skills, personal care and independence, an individual's emotional health, such as self-worth and self-esteem, material well-being, so those employment opportunities, money management, education and housing, personal development and interpersonal relationships, and then social inclusion. And this is just a fun little meme regarding acronyms. As you see, there are many. So it says the BCBA, which is me and many of our leadership staff at Bridgeway Academy, says that the FA of the SIV suggests that NCR with FT60 would be better than DRA, EXT, and FCT. Let's put it in the BSP and IEP. So you guys have already been exposed to IEP, and we'll talk about some of those other ones in a little bit. So again, in the IEP, it requires that you also state therapeutic and related services. So we'll talk through some of those. So students with disabilities have a right to related services to help them learn and receive the maximum benefit from their educational programs. These services are to be determined on an individualized basis, not solely by the disability or category of the disability. So it's all individualized.
How does an IEP and an ISP differ?
So the ISP is more comprehensive, all-encompassing skills to support, or supports to support the child's needs across like their entire environment, and IEP is specific to education and related therapies. Yeah, so examples of some of the related services could include counseling, applied behavior analysis, or ABA, occupational therapy, which is, you'll commonly see that as OT, physical therapy, which is PT, speech and language pathology, which is SLP, there's parent training, psychological services, social work services, Music therapy is something that we have at Bridgeway, MT, and then transportation services. So the first one, which you'll see in the field of autism education a lot, is Applied Behaviour Analysis, or ABA. And this ABA is a set of principles based on the science of learning and behavior. So the things that almost everything we do at Bridgeway is based in ABA, whether it's in a therapeutic setting, an educational setting, all of it. Really, any education is based in the principles of ABA, which hopefully will become clear kind of as I go through it. So ABA helps us understand how behavior works, how behavior is affected by the environment, and then how learning takes place. ABA can be used across settings and with any individual, so not just individuals with autism or developmental disabilities, but really with any learner. It focuses on socially significant behavior, such as communication, play, and self-help skills. And it can be thought of as an umbrella under which many different teaching strategies fall. So this is just a little graphic to show you what some of those teaching strategies are. I'm just going to read the ones that we kind of focus on and have in place at Bridgeway. So we'll use discrete trial teaching, natural environment teaching, which is NET, verbal behavior, BB, and that focuses on those communication skills. We work on self-management skills with kiddos, and then all of the skills on the right, so leisure activities such as puzzles, independent play, community skills, especially at our secondary school, some of our older students, inclusion, social skills, and vocational skills, which again are those skills that are focused on with a lot of our older students, getting them ready for jobs in the community. ABA treatment is interdisciplinary and will involve the following professionals. So I mentioned this one before. There's a board certified behavior analyst, or a BCBA. So that's what I am. And the BCBA will conduct assessments, design treatment, and monitor student progress. There's also a board certified assistant behavior analyst, or BCABA. And they'll work under the supervision of a BCBA to assist them with assessment, treatment, and progress monitoring. And then there's a registered behavior technician, or RBT. So often the RBT will work, well always the RBT will work under the supervision of the BCBA or BCABA, and often you'll see them providing direct implementation of behavior analytic services. That's kind of a breakdown of roles that you'll see frequently within autism education. ABA also includes skills assessment, so we use a lot of these here at Bridgeway as well. Within autism education, a variety of ABA assessment tools are used to individually guide treatment and to suit those individual learning needs. So these assessments are used to figure out what we put on their IEP and what their goals are. So we'll use common assessments include the FA, or the functional assessment. There's a tool called the FAST, which is the functional assessment screening tool. You'll see the term ABC, and that's just a data collection document. There's the ABLS, or ABLS, which stands for Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills. There's also a revised edition. And then one assessment that we use frequently with our early learners in EI is the VB-MAP, or the Verbal Behavior Milestones Assessment and Placement Program. So, yes.
Before you go on, can you go back one slide? Because it might be nice for Abby or Erin to talk about how many registered RBTs, and to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, we have a pretty large number of all of these professionals in our building, in our buildings. I think the latest is 10 board certified behavior analysts on staff. We have 2 assistant behavior analysts, and then a large number of RBTs. We actually offer that certification, and we offer supervision so that more staff members can receive their credentials and go through their education process and supervision to sit for the exam to become a board certified behavior analyst, which requires a master's degree. And so those are pretty astronomical numbers when you consider Many school districts don't even have one board certified behavior analyst for an entire district to consult. It is kind of more up and coming, so they are seeking more help from BCBAs, but we consider ourselves pretty fortunate that we've been able to assist so many professionals to move towards their credentialing and continue to retain that number of really highly educated individuals and passionate. Anything else?
Maybe you said this, but that we offer the RBT training annually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that we have continual opportunities for staff members who maybe don't have the ability or the desire to go through the extensive training for the BCABA or the BCBA, but are teachers or working in our classrooms, they can seek that extra credential and extra training. And so we supervise anywhere from 10 to 20 individuals each year who wish to receive that additional training and support. And then they are all supervised kind of throughout their time at Bridgeway by the BCBAs and BCBAs. Thanks,
So to kind of break down what those assessments look like, an FA is used to help educators find a reason or a function for the child's behavior. So this is typically used to decrease challenging behaviors in order to increase the student's opportunity for learning. And then there's always going to be one of 4 functions for a behavior. So there are 4 functions for all behavior. Behavior that children are engaging in, behavior that you and I are engaging in, any behavior. So they are, 1, escape or avoidance. So an example is escaping or avoiding homework. 2 is to access an item or activity. So an example might be getting a preferred snack or access to the iPad. 3 is to gain attention. So an example of this would be to get mom or dad's attention or the attention of a teacher. And then automatic. And this is a behavior that just kind of feels good to the individual. It typically happens when the child is alone, not serving one of the other 3 functions. Guys, it's all fun and games until someone figures out the function of your behavior. So the Functional Assessment Screening Tool, or the FAST, is designed to identify a number of factors that may influence the occurrence of problem behaviors or those challenging behaviors. It's used as an initial screening tool as part of a comprehensive functional assessment, and it's completed by multiple adults who interact with the individual with ASD, such as parents, teachers, and therapists. So this is one of those comprehensive tools to make sure that we're getting ideas from everybody about what the function of that behavior is. ABC, again, stands for antecedent, behavior, consequence. The antecedent is the event or actions or circumstances immediately before a behavior. The behavior is the behavior. It must be observable and measurable. And then the consequence is the action or response immediately after the behavior. So any behavior can be defined in terms of what happens before it, what it looks like, and what happens after it. So an example is, the antecedent might be that mom says it's time for bed. The behavior is the child walks into their bedroom. And the consequence is that mom reads a story to the child. So in the future, if the child likes that story, they're probably going to respond and go into their bedroom when mom says, time for bed. ABC data is used by staff to determine a pattern of behavior. So we want to see what's the pattern of consequence, to see how it influences that behavior and how frequently it's happening. By analyzing the pattern of behavior, educators can determine a function or a purpose, and this leads to creating an effective behavior intervention plan, or BIP. So this is another acronym that you'll see often in education. If educational staff determine that a child requires a BIP, it is written into their IEP. Do you guys remember? Quiz time! Who remembers what an IEP is?
Well, I know, we know.
I know it's not.
That's not fair.
Individual education plan.
Yeah. So if there is a
She gets the
specific
present.
behavioral need.
Here's
Got a
the
Coke. I have a Diet Coke.
A nice tea. What?
So yeah, so if there is a behavioral need that warrants the behavior intervention plan, then it's written into the IEP. It contains strategies to decrease challenging behavior and to increase more appropriate replacement behavior. The BB map is criterion referenced. It's an assessment tool. It also serves as a curriculum guide and skill tracking system that's designed for children with autism and anyone that demonstrates a language delay. So this is a tool that we do use within Bridgeway. Do you have any additional information about how we use the BB map that could be useful?
It's all there on that slide. It uses a curriculum guide and assessment tool, and it follows the child through the early intervention years.
Are these what is now being, or what will be shortly tracked on, is it the app that you guys are developing, or
Yes.
is that what this is all related to?
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So like currently they probably have to manually write it down. So
Yeah.
there's-
Child comes through a protocol.
Yeah.
There's a book
Okay.
that is filled out by hand.
Okay.
And that, they usually are doing at least parts of the BB map multiple times a year to help to measure the improvement and change.
Do you guys want to tell Jay a little bit more about the app that's being developed? Just like up here.
Sure. So we started with a grant for some technology to help us improve our data collection. It is one of the places in which our teachers struggle is the time commitment that they put to showing the progress that our students made. And so we looked at some of the products that were commercially available to use with that grant, and what we found through lots of trial and error and lots of meetings is that there was either too much or too little. They didn't communicate with any of the existing systems that we already are using, and so there was a lot of overlap. And so we sort of decided to look into the idea of creating an app that would have some of the ODE systems communicating with the existing systems that we use here. And so I don't know, we had one idea, and I asked a friend who happened to be this very talented designer. And so he came in and did some work for us and let us know what was possible. And so he started dedicating some time to the organization and showing us, well, if we could do this, then we could do that, and the idea was born. And so we've started to work with his firm to, I mean,
No, I think you're absolutely, everything's on point. We're trying to develop a scope and sequence right now to develop the app so that it will allow us to individualize the data collection in a way that will then free up our staff's time more efficiently. Right now, the majority of data collection is done pencil and paper. And so that stacks up over time, as you can imagine, just from a space standpoint, as well as a time standpoint for our staff members. And then most of that data has to be transferred into an electronic system. And many of the electronic systems that we're required to use don't talk to one another. And so we're working to try to create an app that will allow our staff to take data in the moment in an efficient manner, to then also be able to create reports that can be used for communication with other individuals, other therapists in the building, other teachers in the building, parents, and then some of the other agencies that we work with. So we're just at the very basic beginning stages of that still, but hopeful because of the work that has been done and that will hopefully come.
We've made it almost to the completion of the scope, and we're set to have the view started, which is really exciting.
And we think we've raised all the money.
That
I think we're
also
there,
is exciting.
financially.
At least for
Yeah.
now.
For now.
Yeah, it's like the legal part of
Yeah.
it.
So this has really changed things for you guys a lot.
Oh my gosh, it has the potential to make all of the things that we do more efficient and better. Time is the one thing that we identify over and over and over again that our teachers need more of, and we don't know how to get it. And this is one way we can identify this.
And the more time that they can save, the more time that will go back to the kids in the work that's actually being accomplished.
And then I think the collaboration piece is also worth mentioning, is that we work so hard to find the time to work together as teams. And again, time being the issue because we don't want to take away from the treatment for our kids. This will allow us to communicate in a way that we can see what everyone else is doing and make our decisions based not only on our own information, but on the information from all the disciplines who work with our kids, which is tremendous.
Great.
So ABLES is an assessment tool, curriculum guide, and skills tracking system to help guide the instruction of language and critical learner skills for children with autism and developmental disabilities. And this is just a little image, a little reference of what they all look like.
That's
Yeah.
all, that's all stuff.
All pen and paper stuff. Yeah, so with the app, it will be really exciting to see also just like how consistent all of the data collection can be. And as someone who doesn't always have access to this written data, because I am primarily out in the community and homes, it'll be so wonderful to just be able to log on and look at the goals and access that information wherever I might be that day.
And for others to be able to access the work that you're
Yeah. Yep. So another related therapy, we have an entire OT department at Bridgeway, is occupational therapy or OT. And this helps individuals work on cognitive, physical, social, and motor skills. And the goal is to improve everyday skills and to promote independence and participation in a wide range of activities. So just some examples of skills that are practiced within OT might include dressing, eating, grooming, using the bathroom, fine motor skills like writing, coloring, and cutting with scissors. If you have any further questions related to OT, you can email our OT department. Another related therapy is physical therapy or PT. And this therapy helps individuals work on strength, coordination, gross motor skills. The goal is to increase independence with coordination and mobility, and to allow children to explore and interact with their environment, and to engage in social interactions as well. So really with all of the related therapy, there's an underlying social interaction component. And some examples of skills practiced with the PT include postural strength and control, functional mobility, so walking and running, body safety and awareness, coordination, and play skills. And there's the address of our PT department if you should have further questions. Music therapy, or MT, is something that we have at Bridgeway Academy. That's a really amazing service. And music therapy is the clinical use of music interventions to accomplish individualized goals. So some examples of skills that might be practiced within MT include communication, social skills, cognition, response to instruction, and play.
They also have a website.
They also
But-
have an email. Did I not?
yes.
I didn't include it.
No,
It's
but that
probably
email.
just MT
Yes, it is.
Academy. I didn't include speeches either, but it's, theirs might just be
Theirs is
speech.
speech.
Theirs is different.
Actually,
It's just,
I think music therapy is
Music.
oh, is it?
Ohio.org. But
Great
you
job.
can reach
They're
out.
on our
I know.
You
We
can
know
email
somebody
me.
to call.
I
We'll
have
get
my
you there.
email available, or you can check our website. So speech and language pathologist, or an SLP, helps individuals work on social communication and related skills, including but not limited to speech production, and Abby's a speech therapist,
Yeah, a music therapist, so.
and Aaron's a music therapist. All right, I should have mentioned those on the slide.
Just over here.
So they, what? They assist with speech production, language, and the use of augmentative communication, to name a few. And they also assist with evaluations, conduct assessments, and provide ongoing treatment to support individuals with ASD. And some examples of skills that they might practice with students include making speech sounds, turn taking, making a request, or responding to instructions, among others. And then, along with speech services, you might see assistive technology, or AT. So federal law requires that school districts identify assistive technology, or AT, needs that would benefit a child in his or her IEP, or Individualized Education Program. Assistive technology can serve as a pathway to general education classrooms and a way to improve critical skills. And then within autism education, AT is often used to, in the support of a learner's communication needs. So one form of AT is AAC. And that's going to go even further.
Isn't it? It was a really good name of this presentation.
Yeah.
Good job, Carol.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I like it.
So, alternative and augmentative communication, AAC, approaches can be used to enhance, expand, and develop communication skills. 3 primary examples used within the field of autism education and within Bridgeway include signs and gestures, PECs, or the picture exchange communication system, and then SGDs, or speech generating devices. These are a few pictures. So we have sign, PECs, is that book up there, so the child is taking a picture off and handing it to their speaking partner as a way to communicate. And then we have the SGD. And that's just one kind of SGD, so they come in contact with a button and it puts it on the screen, and then it has audio output, so they're able to request or communicate that way.